when the sky darkened and magma swallowed the land god's devils, and mortals were all dragged into a battle with no retreat. If you enjoy my way of explaining and storytelling, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really motivates me to keep creating. A sea of black clouds rolled across the heavens, blotting out the sky as though daylight had been swallowed in an instant. Within those clouds surged a monstrous, sinister aura that spread outward like an invisible tide, reverberating across the land and causing the earth below to tremble faintly in response. At this moment, there were still many people and factions lingering within the Black Corner region. Although Xiao Yan and the others had already issued warnings, these individuals chose not to depart. Those who managed to survive in the Black Corner region were without exception ruthless and audacious figures. Such people had clawed their way through blood and death for many years to claim their territories. How could they abandon everything simply because of a few words of caution? Seeing that their warnings fell on deaf ears, Xiao Yan and the others did not insist further. When the calamity truly descended, these people would naturally come to regret their choice. The Xiao Gate had already been transferred into the heavenly tomb ahead of time. No matter what it was, a faction Xiao Yan himself had founded back then. If there was a chance to help them, he would not hesitate. As a result, the present Black Corner region was far emptier than before. Although some stubborn individuals refused to leave, there were also those who made swift and decisive choices. After all, the massacre that had taken place just days earlier had made them realize, deeply and terrifyingly, what kind of existence the so-called Hun Clan truly was. The black clouds continued to spread, enveloping the area surrounding the Black Corner region. Within moments, the clouds churned violently, whistling and rolling as dense waves of black mist surged outward like an unleashed beast. Xiao Yan's expression grew solemn as he gazed at the figures that now filled the sky. Judging from this formation, the Hun Clan had mobilized its full strength. Clearly, Hun Tiandi was determined to seize the ancient god mansion at all costs. "Be careful, Jun," said softly beside him. Her beautiful eyes were filled with unconcealed worry. Even she could feel how overwhelmingly terrifying this lineup was. Xiao Yan gave a slight nod, his gaze locking onto the center of the black clouds. Dozens of figures stood suspended in the void. At their forefront was none other than Hun Tiandi, the clan head of the Hun Clan. Closely following him was the Nihility devouring flame, and behind them stood the 4 undying elders who had once constructed the Death World. The auras of those 4 undying old monsters have actually recovered. Xiao Yan's eyes flickered as his heart involuntarily sank. 4 experts comparable to 8-star Dou Sheng's, this alone was enough to completely upset the balance between the two sides. While Xiao Yan was assessing the Hun Clan's fearsome lineup, the space above the academy suddenly began to distort violently. In the next instant, countless figures flashed into existence. The Alliance army had arrived as well. Xiao Yan's figure flickered as he saw the dense mass of figures filling the sky. In the blink of an eye, he appeared at the forefront of the Alliance forces. "It seems your guess was correct. This Black Corner region really is where the Tu Shi ancient god mansion is hidden," Yuan said as his gaze swept toward the distant Hun Clan army. Xiao Yan nodded. His eyes then moved across the Alliance ranks, and he was quickly struck by surprise. Their overall strength had clearly risen significantly compared to the last time. "The full power of our 3 clans has been mobilized," Yuan said, noticing Xiao Yan's expression, and laughed lightly. "Didn't the 3 clans need to leave people behind to guard your territories?" Xiao Yan frowned and asked. "At this moment, the Hun Clan doesn't have the guts to divide their forces to attack us," Lei Ying replied in a deep voice. "This battle is of utmost importance," Yan Jin added with a laugh, though a sharp chill gleamed within his eyes. "Whoever loses will suffer a fate from which there is no recovery. Since that's the case, we might as well stake everything." Xiao Yan fell silent before giving a slow nod. Indeed, if Hun Tiandi were allowed to successfully advance to the Dou Di realm, then no matter how well the 3 clans defended themselves, only one fate would await them. In that case, risking everything now was the only option. "There's something else," Xiao Yan said gravely. "I've already ventured deep beneath the magma and discovered the ancient god mansion. However, there is a mysterious creature guarding its entrance. Its strength is terrifying, likely no weaker than Uncle Gu or Hun Tiandi." These words caused Lei Ying and the others to stiffen, and even Gu Yuan's body trembled faintly. If that was true, then this battle had become far more unpredictable. A peak 9-star Dou Sheng was more than enough to alter the outcome entirely. I've never heard of any non-human race producing a peak 9-star Dou Sheng within the past 1,000 years, Gu Yuan muttered. That mysterious creature must have existed for an extremely long time. Even Hun Tiandi and I might not be able to match it. Xiao Yan and the others nodded. Such an explanation was entirely plausible. To serve as the guardian of the ancient god mansion, that being must have existed since time immemorial. It would not be strange if it were even older than Gu Yuan and Hun Tiandi after all. Longevity was the natural advantage of powerful magical beasts. As Xiao Yan's group exchanged words, Hun Tiandi slowly stepped forward from the distant void. His gaze was calm and indifferent as it swept over the Alliance army, finally pausing on Gu Yuan and Xiao Yan. Gu Yuan Hun Tiandi said evenly, "My previous offer still stands. If I successfully advance to the Dodi realm and you surrender to me, I will not show mercy. You should reconsider for the sake of the Gu clan's continuation." Gu Yuan couldn't help but laugh upon hearing this. Without saying a word, he simply raised his hand and waved it lightly. Instantly, countless terrifying auras erupted from the Alliance army, their cold and razor-sharp gazes locking firmly onto the Hun Clan forces. How unfortunate. Hun Tiandi sighed softly. He said nothing more. A brilliant cluster of light flew out from his storage ring and hovered above his head. Within it, a hazy radiance pulsed before gradually forming the illusion of an ancient figure. The energy of the entire region seemed to boil the moment that figure appeared. A tyrannical pressure descended from the heavens, crushing down like the will of a god. Tosha, ancient god. Gu Yuan, Xiao Yan, and the others stared at the radiant, white-haired old man with grave expressions, exclaiming in unison. In this world, only the legendary Toshi, ancient god Jade, could possess such an overwhelming aura. They intend to use the Toshi, ancient god Jade, to summon the ancient god mansion. Gu Yuan's eyes flashed as he shouted. Bang! Hun Tiandi raised the Tosha, ancient god Jade, and slammed his palm downward toward the Jianan Academy below. A gigantic hand, tens of thousands of feet in size, materialized in the sky. Dust erupted as a thunderous roar shook the heavens and earth. Under that single palm strike, the once magnificent Jianan Academy was instantly reduced to a massive chasm, tens of thousands of feet deep. Moments later, the sound of rushing liquid echoed from within the abyss. Crimson magma surged forth, swallowing the academy ruins in the blink of an eye. This strike had not only obliterated Jianan Academy, it had forcibly drawn magma from deep beneath the earth. Blazing magma surged upward like a scarlet tide, spreading across the Black Corner region with unstoppable momentum. At this rate, the entire region would soon be transformed into a sea of fire. Stop them. Don't let Hun Tiandi use the ancient god Jade to summon the ancient god mansion. Gu Yuan roared as he stared at the magma sea below. Attack! Lei Ying, Yan Jin, and the others shouted in unison. Instantly, countless pillars of Dou Qi erupted from the Alliance army, shooting toward the Hun Clan from every direction. In formation, sharp cries rang out from the Hun Clan's ranks. Black chains wreathed in mist shot outward, crisscrossing in mid-air and forming a massive dragnet in the blink of an eye. Bang, bang, bang. Towering Dou Qi pillars exploded against the chain formation, sending out waves of shrill cries. The black mist coating the chains rapidly thinned, witnessing the terrifying, world-shaking battle unfolding in the sky. The remaining experts and factions of the Black Corner region were left deathly pale. They looked down at the magma-filled wasteland below, and panic immediately spread. One after another, they hurriedly fled. Compared to this war, all the battles they had experienced before were nothing more than child's play. Hun Tiandi appeared utterly indifferent to the chaos around him. He closed his eyes, focusing entirely on controlling the ancient god Jade as he sensed the ancient god mansion deep beneath the magma. Humph! Gu Yuan snorted coldly. His figure flashed as he appeared outside the chain formation. With a wave of his hand, the seemingly indestructible chains shattered into pieces. Hey, hey, Gu Yuan, let me be your opponent. A surge of black flames erupted before Gu Yuan could act further. The Nihility devouring flame appeared flanked by the two elders who had once constructed the Death World. Clearly he understood that even with a die-state soul, he was still no match for Gu Yuan alone. So you've advanced your soul into the die-state, Gu Yuan said calmly. It seems the Hun Clan has treated you quite well. The Nihility devouring flame let out a cold laugh and said nothing more. He stretched out his hands, and monstrous black flames erupted forth. A terrifying suction force burst from his body, turning him into something like a living black hole. The two elders behind him attacked simultaneously, their auras surging to their peaks. They were clearly fighting with everything they had. "You think the three of you can stop me?" Yuan smiled faintly. His figure flickered, and he appeared before one of the elders with lightning speed. He extended a single finger. Space within a 1,000-foot radius collapsed instantly into nothingness as the finger pressed downward. Gruk! Before Yuan even made contact, the elder spat out a mouthful of blood, his body staggering backward in utter misery. Humph! Just as Yuan prepared to strike again, black flames surged around him, unleashing a terrifying suction force that sought to drain every last drop of Dou Qi from his body. "Your devouring power is useless against me." Vast surging Dou Qi burst forth from Yuan, accompanied by a fearsome spiritual shock. The black flames were instantly shattered, and Yuan reached out toward the Nihility devouring flame. At the same time as Xiao Yan charged into the battlefield, two elderly figures appeared before him. Their icy, furious voices rang out together. "Bastard! Return my deathly silence gate." "Hun Tian?" Xiao Yan merely smiled when he saw the two old men before him, their bodies shrouded in a dense and oppressive deathly aura. One of them was Hun Tian, the very man whose deathly silence gate had been seized by Xiao Yan back then. "Little bastard, you ruined the grand plans of my Hun clan. Today you must die." Hun Tian's eyes burned with vicious hatred as he stared at Xiao Yan. Back then, due to a moment of carelessness, Xiao Yan had taken advantage of him and snatched away the deathly silence gate, causing the death world to completely collapse. As a result, the Hun clan's army had been forced to retreat in disgrace. Had it not been for the current critical situation, he would have been severely punished despite his senior status. Even so, during this period, he had been repeatedly reprimanded by Hun Tiandi. Naturally, the hatred in his heart toward Xiao Yan had grown to an almost unbearable intensity. Xiao Yan merely curled his lips at Hun Tian's vicious words. His gaze then swept calmly over the two figures before him, though a trace of solemnity flickered deep within his eyes. The Hun clan had directly dispatched 2 8-star Dou Shengs to restrain him. This alone was proof that they intended to kill him at all costs. Although dealing with them would undoubtedly be troublesome, it was no easy matter for the two of them to defeat Xiao Yan either. After all, he was now a genuine 7-star Dou Sheng. Coupled with his die-state soul, his true combat strength had already far surpassed that of an ordinary 8-star Dou Sheng. Even with the two working together, victory was far from guaranteed. This thought flashed through Xiao Yan's mind as his eyes swept across the countless fierce battles raging throughout the Black Corner region. Wild and violent, Dou Qi surged everywhere as innumerable figures clashed, causing the sea of magma below to continuously erupt with towering magma pillars thousands of feet high. The battlefield is locked in a stalemate. But if I can hold back 2 8-star Dou Shengs, the pressure on the Alliance army will be greatly reduced. The sky had become a colossal meat grinder. Experts from both sides spat blood one after another, their bodies falling from the heavens into the magma below, where the searing heat reduced them to ashes in an instant. "Little bastard, go die." Hun Tian's eyes grew ever more ferocious as rage finally overwhelmed him. With a furious shout, he swung his palm forward. A palm wind saturated with deathly aura roared toward Xiao Yan. Even a single whiff of it caused one's life force to wither rapidly. "You're overestimating yourself." Xiao Yan let out a cold laugh. The purifying, demonic lotus flame erupted from within his body like a raging storm, condensing into a gigantic fire palm that forcefully met Hun Tian's attack head-on. The eerie, deathly aura was swiftly purified under the lotus flame's terrifying cleansing power. "Hun Tiansheng, attack together and kill this brat." Hun Tian's expression changed as soon as their attacks clashed. He could clearly sense that Xiao Yan was far stronger than before. Without hesitation, he shouted urgently. The other 8-star Dou Sheng, his face dark and icy, nodded grimly. His figure flickered as he appeared behind Xiao Yan's deathly aura coiling around his finger before he ruthlessly pressed it forward. Death God Finger. Scram. The enormous black finger tore through space, but just as it was about to touch Xiao Yan, he threw a punch backward. A terrifying firestorm formed beneath his fist and smashed directly into the black finger, obliterating it. "King Kong glass body." Xiao Yan suddenly roared. His body expanded violently, swelling to a colossal size of 1,000 feet as brilliant golden light surged forth. Extermination Fire Body. Almost simultaneously, the purifying demonic lotus flame erupted again, coating his massive form. His gigantic body turned crystal clear as both body-strengthening techniques were unleashed at once, something only Xiao Yan could achieve after advancing his soul to the Dai state. With the two techniques activated together, Xiao Yan's aura surged violently sharp and overwhelming. He swung his massive palm toward Hun Yuan while simultaneously flicking a finger. Yellow Spring Palm, Great Heaven Creation Palm, Yellow Spring Finger. Three powerful Dao skills formed almost simultaneously and slammed ferociously toward Hun Yuan. Even Hun Yuan's expression changed involuntarily. This kind of simultaneous multi-technique control was something even he could not achieve. Death Tomb. A dense, deathly aura erupted from Hun Yuan's body, condensing into a massive black tomb tens of thousands of feet tall. A sharp, eerie sound echoed from within. Bang, bang, bang. Numerous Tian-class Dou skills crashed violently onto the tomb. Shockwaves rippled outward as space within 10,000 feet collapsed into a pitch-black void. Under the ferocious onslaught, the deathly aura surrounding the tomb rapidly dissipated. Finally, with a thunderous explosion, the tomb shattered. Just as Xiao Yan prepared to pursue, his ear twitched. He abruptly turned and smashed his massive fist into the space behind him. Bang! Space rippled violently as a gigantic black stone pillar burst forth, colliding head-on with Xiao Yan's fist. A clear, thunderous sound rang out as both were blasted backward. Xiao Yan staggered back more than a dozen steps before steadying himself. A trace of sweetness surged up his throat, but he forcibly swallowed it down. Hun Tiansheng's strength was clearly even greater than Hun Yuan's, and that strike had been delivered with full force. Though Xiao Yan felt some discomfort, the other party was in no better condition. Xiao Yan lifted his gaze toward Hun Tiansheng, who stood gripping the stone pillar. The latter's face was flushed red, his aura fluctuating violently. "Damn brat! No wonder you managed to snatch the deathly silence gate from Hun Yuan," Hun Tiansheng said in a deep, cold voice. "This brat is getting harder and harder to deal with. Let's attack together and exhaust him to death." Hun Yuan appeared beside Hun Tiansheng and growled. Xiao Yan laughed coldly. With a wave of his hand, a black light cluster appeared, rapidly transforming into a massive black gate, the deathly silence gate. "Go in." With a flick of his sleeve, an intense suction force burst from the gate, dragging Hun Yuan and Hun Tiansheng straight into it. "Ha, brat, you actually dare to deliver yourself to us." The two elders' eyes lit up. They did not resist at all, instead using the suction force to rush into the deathly silence gate. A cold smile flashed across Xiao Yan's eyes. Naturally, he would not repeat the same foolish mistake Hun Yuan had made back then. As soon as the two entered the deathly silence gate, they hurriedly searched for the spiritual stone to erase Xiao Yan's imprint, only to discover that the entire space was filled with monstrous flames. Something's wrong. Retreat. Their expressions changed drastically as pink flames spread throughout the deathly silence world. This gate had already been thoroughly tampered with by Xiao Yan. Bang, bang. Before they could retreat, the purifying demonic lotus flame surged from all directions, transforming into countless fire dragons that viciously lunged at them. Boom! With a furious wave of their sleeves, massive Dou Chi pillars scattered the fire dragons. Their figures flashed as they rushed toward the exit of the deathly silence world. However, a colossal figure, tens of thousands of feet tall, suddenly blocked the exit. At the same moment, a terrifying spiritual sound wave blasted toward them. Mo, mo, mo. 3 consecutive yellow spring divine angers exploded forth, sending Hun Yuan and Hun Tiansheng flying backward 10,000 feet. Their souls reeled violently. "Since you've entered, don't even think about leaving." Xiao Yan's icy laughter echoed throughout the deathly silence gate. His hand seals shifted as 6 colored flames filled with exterminating power rapidly formed in his palm, one after another flying into the gate. Fire lotuses floated through the space, gathering without exploding. In just a short time, 10 extermination fire lotuses had formed. The sight caused Hun Yuan and Hun Tiansheng's expressions to turn pale. One lotus was manageable, but 10 detonating together in such a confined space. Even they would not survive. "Charge out." The two exchanged glances, gritted their teeth, and transformed into streaks of light, rushing straight for the exit, determined to forcibly endure the yellow spring divine anger. It's too late. Xiao Yan smiled coldly. 3 more extermination fire lotuses flew in. With a single thought, every lotus inside the deathly silence gate detonated simultaneously. At the same instant, Xiao Yan slammed his palm onto the gate itself, shattering the spiritual imprint on the spiritual stone. Bung! Black fog erupted violently as the deathly silence gate began to collapse. Space itself shattered as an indescribable destructive force surged forth, combining the annihilating might of the fire lotus explosions and the self-destruction of the gate engulfing the two elders completely. He made the deathly silence gate self-destruct. Shock and anguish filled Hun Yuantian's eyes. That gate had taken him hundreds of years to build, yet Xiao Yan had destroyed it without hesitation. Bang! Before the thought could even finish forming, the devastating force swallowed them entirely. Xiao Yan retreated rapidly through the sky, wiping cold sweat from his forehead. Even if those 2 old monsters didn't die, they would be severely crippled. How could it be that easy to reclaim it? A low, cold laugh suddenly echoed. Xiao Yan's heart trembled as he turned toward the magma sea below. An enormous vortex had formed there, vast and unfathomable, as if something terrifying was about to emerge. The ancient god mansion. Is it finally about to surface? Xiao Yan's eyes grew increasingly cold as he stared at the swirling magma. That's all for today's content. See you in the next part. Support me by becoming a member. It will give me more motivation. Thank you so much.